Good afternoon, podcast world. This is Lonnie Clark with the Age of Fission radio show. As the title of this podcast says, it's the fourth reading of Dr. Caldicott's book, The New Nuclear Danger. I want to thank Dr. Caldicott for giving me permission to read this book. It was published in 2002 by a nonprofit press called The New Press. And we are on chapter 5. That's right, chapter 5. And I will dig right in. Manhattan 2. SS&M is a scientific and technical challenge perhaps as formidable as the Manhattan Project. Dr. Victor Reese, Assistant Secretary of the Defense Programs at the DOE. In the last 6 years, the Nuclear Weapons Laboratory, Los Alamos and Sandia in New Mexico, and Lawrence Livermore in California have embarked upon the largest scientific endeavor ever attempted. This new project, the Stockpile Stewardship and Management Program, nicknamed Manhattan 2, was ostensibly instituted to ensure the proper functioning of the U.S. stockpile of U.S. nuclear weapons post-Cold War. But this benign description disguises the truth. Nuclear scientists are actually designing, developing, testing, and constructing new nuclear weapons at an annual cost of $5 billion over the next 10 to 15 years. Authorization of Manhattan 2 was the price of the Department of Energy exacted in 1995 for nominally agreeing to extend the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. Officially, the U.S. played a key role in convincing the other 180 nations to sign this extension, which reads in part, quote, each of the parties of the treaty undertakes to pursue negotiations in good faith on effective measures relating to the cessation of nuclear arms race at an early date and to nuclear disarmament, and on a treaty on general and complete disarmament under strict and effective international control. 1995. We just read Carl Grossman's book, Weapons in Space. Wasn't that when they started the vision for 2020? In 1996, 5 nuclear weapons nations, Russia, France, England, China, and the U.S., excluding India, Pakistan, and Israel, and 44 other nations with the potential to construct nuclear weapons, also agreed to abide by the Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty, the CTBT. The CTBT preamble states, the cessation of all nuclear weapons test explosions and all other nuclear explosions by constraining the development and qualitative improvement of nuclear weapons and ending the development of advanced new types of nuclear weapons constitutes an effective measure of nuclear disarmament and proliferation in all of its aspects. These were noble ideals on the part of the international community and appropriate in the post-Cold War era. However, the treaties provoked a major battle for power and control within the U.S. nuclear establishment. In a seemingly irreconcilable irony, the nuclear labs and their overseer, the Department of Energy, would allow America to be part of the ban on nuclear testing only if the labs were granted funding to expand their nuclear weapons operations. Thus, violation of both international treaties designed to control the spread of nuclear weapons was built into acceptance. Technically known as the Stockpile Stewardship and Management Program, the new effort was abbreviated to SS&M, amusingly reminiscent of the acronym for sexual sadomasochism, and thus very much in keeping with all the other sexual language of the nuclear labs. According to the labs, the SS&M program was designed to ensure the safety and reliability of the U.S. nuclear stockpile. But as a 1996 publication from the DOE makes clear, the lab's real mandate goes far beyond safety and reliability. Quote, ability to design new warheads will be retained by DOE at its defense programs laboratories, Los Alamos National Laboratory, Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory, and Sandia National Laboratory. SS&M's real agenda is as follows. to expand the scientific knowledge and understanding of nuclear weapons physics and engineering by creating and outfitting a host of new, sophisticated experimental facilities, to model the behavior of exploding nuclear weapons using the world's fastest computers, to refurbish and modernize all the weapons in the stockpile by replacing components with updated versions, and in some case, by designing and manufacturing completely new nuclear weapons. Wow. I just read a story this last week on my YouTube channel, Nuts for Art, about the United States just dropped a nuclear bomb. They've outfitted all the B-12s with new upgraded nuclear weapons that can become bunker busters, can have a high yield, low yield, do all kinds of things. New computers. Back to the book. At the height of the Cold War, the U.S. spent an average of $3.8 billion on a year on nuclear weapons design, testing, and manufacture. Now, 12 years after the end of the Cold War, it is spending $5 billion annually over a 10 to 15-year period on a project that will violate both the Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty and the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. This unstable situation was worsened in 2000 when, to disquiet the rest of the world, Jesse Helms, the powerful chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, convinced the Republican-controlled Senate not to ratify the Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty. America is engaged in vertical proliferation, building more nuclear weapons, which encourages other nuclear countries to do the same. And America is triggering lateral proliferation, in which non-nuclear nations, emulating its example, will almost certainly develop their own nuclear weapons. Among the side effects of such wrong-headed efforts are the health problems faced by tens of thousands of nuclear industry workers each year, and the environmental hazards created by waste products and abandoned sites discussed at the end of this chapter. Infrastructure of SS&M. Wood-piled weapons. Nuclear weapons are extremely complex systems composed of more than 5,000 parts. Fundamentally, they consist of a primary and secondary mechanism. The primary is usually a hollow sphere of plutonium or highly enriched uranium in some cases, surrounded by conventional explosives. Tritium is injected into the sphere to boost the explosive yield of the primary. The conventional explosives initiate the chain reaction by compressing the plutonium into a critical mass. The intense flux of gamma and X-rays derived from the explosion of the primary are then reflected and directed into the secondary mechanism composed of uranium, lithium, and deuterium compounds, deuterium. This induces nuclear fusion. The fusion reaction in the secondary mechanism determines the size of the explosion. Hydrogen bombs are cheap to make, cheaper by far than the cost of deploying troops. They can be very large, 50 megatons or the equivalent of 50 million tons of TNT. The Hiroshima bomb that destroyed a city was a 13,000-ton equivalent. Oh my gosh. That's like 4 times. Over the years, the U.S. has built 70,302 nuclear weapons using 65 different designs. From 1945 to 1991, the U.S. conducted 1,030 tests, while the Soviet Union exploded 715, France 210, China 45, England 45, and India 5. New subtitle, Justification for SS&M. SS&M is ostensibly designed to ensure the safety and reliability of the U.S.'s aging stockpile of nuclear weapons. Safety is typically defined as a certified guarantee that a bomb will not inadvertently explode should it be involved in an accident. For example, dropped from a crane or enveloped in a fire. Safety is not affected by aging of the bomb. In fact, weapons actually become safer as they age because the metals corrode, adhesives degrade, and component parts crack, making them less likely to explode by accident. DOE also found no other evidence that aging will make the chemical explosives more sensitive. Reliability is a guarantee that bombs will explode as programmed. A recent DOE study conducted by the Jasons, a group of distinguished scientists who work for the MITRE Corporation, who advise DOD and DOE on issues of national security, determined that even if the DOE did nothing to detect and repair defects in bomb components, fewer than 2% of the stockpiled warheads would fail to function in the first 30 years after manufacture. They also found no evidence to suggest that the rate of failure would increase for older weapons. In fact, since 1970, no defects have been found in the stockpile of nuclear weapons when they were subjected to underground testing. Since 1991, no U.S. weapon has been retired because of aging. Wow. Many experts concur that 100 hydrogen bombs would suffice to guarantee American deterrence. So even if the present stockpile of over 10,000 bombs, oh my gosh, what? So even if the present stockpile of over 10,000 bombs were left untouched, only some would degrade over a long time, and the degradation would easily be detected by physical examination of the weapons. The defective bombs would then be removed from the arsenal. I am stunned by the sheer numbers that I'm reading here. I'm going to continue. The True Agenda, new subtitle. The Stockpile Stewardship and Management Program is not necessary for reasons of either safety or reliability. Contrary to the DOE's alleged motivations, the scientists involved know that testing has little impact on either of these issues. Indeed, if weapon designs are altered as a result of SS&M research without the benefit of full-scale testing, safety could actually be compromised. So the Manhattan II Project stands to endanger the very safety that it said it is to protect. Let's read that again. Indeed, if weapons designs are altered as a result of SS&M research without the benefit of full-scale testing, safety could actually be compromised. So the Manhattan II Project stands to endanger the very issue of safety that it said to protect. In fact, the real agenda of the SS&M is nuclear weapons development, and the internal DOE documents make that incontrovertibly clear. According to the Stockpile Stewardship and Management Program released by the DOE's Office in the Defense Program of February 29, 1996, for example, the SS&M program is designed to maintain and surge capability to build a larger stockpile. New weapons designs and modifications. Actually, scientists have already made a new nuclear weapon violating the NPT. This is the B-6111 Earth-Penetrating Bunker Buster, the first new weapon produced since 1989, designed to have a variable yield of 300 tons to over 300 kilotons, 12 feet long and weighing 1,200 pounds. This bomb is said to replace the old B-53 with a 9 megaton yield. It is a casing made of uranium-238, depleted uranium, which is 1.7 times more dense than lead. Because of its weight, it supposedly can burrow 15 to 20 feet into the earth before exploding. It is, the scientists say, a new way to hold at risk robustly defended, deeply buried targets. For example, Saddam Hussein's bunker. This was one glaring example of excess. Any nuclear weapons exploding at ground level will gouge out a huge crater in the earth. It doesn't need to burrow. Furthermore, the construction of such small nuclear weapons may make their use unthinkable, breaking the traditional firewall between conventional and nuclear war. 2 bombs are on the drawing board. One is another updated version of the B-61 equipped with wings, which flies after being dropped from a plane, allowing the plane itself to escape from the close proximity of the nuclear explosion. This bomb is called BIOS, Bomb Impact Optimization System. The other is a new warhead for the Trident missiles, but this is cloaked in secrecy. The labs are designing new weapons for the Mark V missile of the Trident submarine. One will utilize an existing plutonium pit, and the other will require a new pit design. New pit manufacturing is a medically dangerous process exposing workers to carcinogenic doses of plutonium. Los Alamos National Lab plans to manufacture between 80 and 500 new pits annually, which signifies the addition of 80 to 500 new nuclear weapons per year. These new Trident weapons are designed to foil the intent of START, the Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty 2, which was specifically designed to eradicate first-strike weapons capable of destroying missile silos or hard targets. Most of America's hard target weapons are deployed in ground-based intercontinental missiles, as are Russian weapons. But by upgrading the Trident missiles to extreme accuracy, the U.S. will retain its hard target capability after seeming to comply with START 2. No wonder the rest of the world views America's nuclear policies with cynicism. In October 2000, Congress passed an authorization bill for research and possible development of a user-friendly mini nuke. Designed to be less than 5 kilotons in size, it will exert a 1-mile radius of blast destruction. The Hiroshima bomb at 13 kilotons experienced a blast radius of 1.5 miles. Stephen Younger, Associate Laboratory Director for Nuclear Weapons at Los Alamos National Laboratory, wrote that these low-yield weapons offer the advantage of reduced collateral damage, but only by 0.5 mile. These people are completely insane. Younger enthused in a paper titled Nuclear Weapons for the 21st Century that mini nukes would not require testing because they could use enriched uranium instead of plutonium and be triggered by a well-known gun assembly mechanism, which was deployed in Little Boy, the Hiroshima bomb. Enriched uranium combined with gun assembly is a tried-and-true design and does not need to be tested. Like the bunker buster, mini nukes would mostly be regarded as weapons of the battlefield to be used to defeat hardened and deeply buried targets, thus again crossing the firewall between conventional and nuclear weapons. Years ago, the military used Davy Crockett's similar tactic nuclear weapons, small enough to be carried into battlefield on the shoulders of soldiers. Congress was so worried about these weapons that they banned them under a 1994 Defense Authorization Act. But in 2000, championed by leading Senate Republicans, mini nukes were authorized, and another new weapon was spawned under the guise of testing for safety and reliability. Since the September 11th attack, there have been numerous suggestions from both within and without the Bush administration to use nuclear weapons in Afghanistan. Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld has categorically failed to rule out the use of nuclear weapons in this war, and Andrew Card, White House Chief of Staff, said when asked about the possible use of nuclear weapons, "I'm not going to talk about the operations that might be considered in the Defense Department and the President, but we're doing everything we can to defend the United States." Specific nuclear weapons suggested for use in this war are bunker busters, mini nukes, and neutron bombs. The latter suggestion, made by Sam Cohen, the inventor of the neutron bomb, was received sympathetically by some in the Washington establishment. Wow. Well, they did use depleted uranium weapons. They started using them in Afghanistan and Iraq. So I think those are nuclear weapons. Other nuclear weapons upgrades are being contemplated by the labs. DOE has elaborate plans to replace each of the thousands of parts in every nuclear weapon on a regular schedule, including the plutonium pit. Parts will be refurbished and modernized with new components of new design. A large arsenal of a variety of modernized nuclear warheads many of low yield to moderate yield, will be fitted to an array of faster, stealthier, long-range delivery platforms, missiles, and planes. These platforms will be equipped with sophisticated electronics and fully integrated into the U.S. military's vision of the 21st century battlefield. A battlefield dominated by satellite surveillance, remotely deployed sensor arrays, and precision weaponry. All of this seems to lose sight of the fact that when the first nuclear weapons are detonated, the battlefield will disappear. New subtitle: The Facilities. 25,000 people are employed in nuclear facilities located in 7 states, researching, testing, and producing nuclear weapon components in the guise of SS&M. These facilities include Lawrence Livermore and Sandia National Labs in California, Los Alamos and Sandia National Labs in New Mexico, the Pantex plant in Texas, the Kansas City plant, the Y-12 plant in Tennessee, the Savannah River plant in South Carolina, the Nevada Test Site, NTS. All of these facilities were used in the past during the Cold War to design, test, and build nuclear weapons. They are ostensibly used to support SS&M, but are currently being upgraded for the new surge in sophisticated nuclear weapons production. Broadly speaking, the facilities are devoted to a number of related endeavors, including learning more about the behavior of plutonium. Stereoscopic views of imploding plutonium pits are being created, and experiments are being conducted to simulate virtually the behavior of this critical nuclear element. Experimenting with fusion. Machines such as the X-1, which can induce fusion, are being built. Laser-powered fusion is being explored, and different igniters are being tested. Testing nuclear weapons, subcritical tests that are difficult to detect are being conducted. Facilities to resume full-scale testing are being built as the U.S. plans to abandon the Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty within months of September of 2001. And virtual testing via elaborate computer models is being undertaken. Building new nuclear weapons. The next generation of upgrades to nuclear weapon components, including the design, integration, prototyping, fabrication, and qualification of microsystems for weapon components, is being manufactured. I just have to insert here that this book was written in 2002. Where do you think they are now, folks? It's 2018. No wonder they don't give a doggone about Fukushima dumping 100,000 tons of radioactive contamination into the Pacific every single day since 2011. This is shocking. New subtitle: Learning more about the behavior of plutonium. Hydrodynamic and high explosive test facilities. The term hydrodynamic applies to the motion of plutonium in the pit just before it reaches critical mass. As we've seen, it is compressed by conventional explosives under extremely high pressures in millionths of a second, and apparently acts like a liquid under pressure. Now, high-energy X-rays are being tested that will penetrate deep inside the imploding pit, produce visual images, and take electrical and optical measurements. The scientists will then produce images of the exploding plutonium. 6 of these hydrodynamic measuring facilities are already operational. 2 new highly sophisticated operations are under construction or planned. The Dual-Axis Radiographic Hydrodynamic Test Facility, DART, D-A-R-H-T, and an Advanced Hydro Test Facility, AHF. One DART has recently been completed at the Los Alamos lab to provide stereoscopic images of imploding plutonium pits. Imploding. That's kind of funny to say, isn't it? Imploding plutonium pits. Equipped with separate beam lines, the machine will take pictures from 2 directions. A second axis will be added to give stereoscopic viewing 3D of imploding pits. This will produce 4 images of the pits over a period of 4 nanoseconds. As a follow-on to the DART, the AHF will utilize proton radiography to penetrate deeper into the pit. 4 axes are planned to provide 3D images from multiple directions, each axis producing 20 images in rapid succession. AHF will be constructed at Los Alamos or the Nevada test site. New subtitle. Hydropulsed facilities. Virtual experiments are currently being conducted to simulate the behavior of plutonium without actually using the element. Short, intense bursts of electrical energy are focused onto targets to induce extremely high temperatures and/or pressures approaching conditions within a nuclear explosion. Millions of degrees of centigrade and pressures many times above the atmosphere pressure. These experiments are designed to test the basic physics of matter at high energy density. The data is used to improve and test computer codes which model nuclear weapons behavior. 7 of these plutonium testing facilities are already operational. A new one is planned. I don't know about you guys, but this is making my skin crawl. I guess this is what we call the deep state, right? This is how deep does it get? It's into nuclear stuff that they're not even talking to us about. New subtitle. Joint Actinide Shock Physics Experiment Research. JASPER. They love these acronyms. Joint Actinide Shock Physics Experimental Research. This is a two-stage gas gun able to shoot projectiles that travel at 8 to 15 kilometers per second onto plutonium and uranium targets. Operated by the Lawrence Livermore Lab and under construction at the NTS, it is designed to examine the properties of these and other such materials at high pressures, temperatures, and strain rates. New subtitle. Experimenting with fusion. Experimenting with fusion. Machines that can induce fusion are being built. Laser-powered fusion is being explored and different igniters are being tested. X1 machine. This machine is being constructed at Sandia National Labs facility and is expected to produce temperatures greater than 3 million degrees Kelvin and enough X-ray energy and power to implode fusion capsules of deuterium and tritium to achieve high-yield fusion. The Sandia scientists believe that the machine could be built for just $1 billion. What a bargain! Inertial confinement fusion, ICF. A major DOE program is being designed to study and produce laser-powered inertial confinement fusion. Multiple intense laser beams are being focused on targets of tritium and deuterium in order to heat and compress these elements until they fuse to induce an enormous amount of energy. Already fusion has been produced in a primitive fashion, but not actual ignition, which simulates the actual energy released in the stars and the sun. 5 such facilities are already in operation at the labs, but this seems not to be enough. Okay, well, that seems to be about as much as I can possibly take. I can't read more of this. It not only infuriates me, but it really makes you recognize how out of control the military spending is. When we wonder where that almost $1 trillion in military budget that was passed this year goes, that's where it goes. It's going into programs that we don't approve of, that we don't like, that we don't want. So I thought what I'd do for you guys here at the end of this is attach my YouTube video that I shared with you earlier that I made. I think I'm going to edit out a lot of stuff that I put on the YouTube video because a lot of it is like verbal cues. But it is basically the title of it. If you go to my YouTube channel at Nuts for Art, the title is called The Beat Goes On, or is it The Beating Goes On? And I am reading an article that Dr. Helen Caldicott found, and it is just unbelievable. So I'm going to add that on, and I hope you enjoy it, and we'll talk to you guys next week. Hey YouTubers, it's me, Lonnie Clark, Nuts for Art.
It's been a little while, but I really had this on my mind. I saw an article today, and I was going to do it on Spreaker. And then I decided I would just come to my YouTube channel and show my audience what I want to talk about on Spreaker, because this is so outrageous. You know, the title of this vlog is called "The Beat Goes On," or is it "The Beating Goes On?" Because I recently met Rich Wood, and he and I were talking about NORM, which is natural. The nuclear industry loves these acronyms, right? That's their big thing. They do acronyms. And they came up with this thing called NORM, which is naturally occurring radioactive material, which is NORM. And what they're doing is they are normalizing us being radioactive. This is intentional. An Air Force Stealth B-2 Spirit just test dropped a nuclear bomb. Because this is outrageous. Dr. Helen Caldicott posted this today on Twitter. I follow her on Twitter, and she posted this. This is outrageous. August 23rd, 2018. This is what it could do in battle. The Air Force's B-2 stealth bomber has test dropped an upgraded multifunctional B-61-12 nuclear bomb. Tested a nuclear bomb, which improves accuracy, integrates various attack options into a single bomb, and changes the strategic landscape with regard to nuclear weapons mission possibilities. Earlier this summer, the Air Force dropped a B-61-12 nuclear weapon from a B-2 at Nellis Air Force Base. That is right outside of Las Vegas, folks, marking a new development test phase for the upgraded bomb. Air Force spokeswoman Captain Hope Cronin told Warrior Maven. The upgraded weapon will include improved safety, security, and reliability. This is so outrageous. It allows for earth-penetrating attacks, low-yield strikes, high-yield attacks, above-surface detonations, and bunker buster options. The latest version of the B-61 thermonuclear gravity bomb, which has its origins as far back as the 1960s, is engineered to a low to medium yield strategic and tactical nuclear weapon, according to nuclearweaponsarchive.org, which also states the weapon has a two-stage radiation implosion design. I mean, for real, folks. This is for real. This was a nuclear bomb test. Listen to this. The main advantage of the B-61-12 is that it packs all the gravity bomb capabilities against all the targeting scenarios into one bomb. That spans from very low yield tactical clean use with low fallout to more dirty attacks against underground targets. Dirty attacks. Hans Christensen, Director of Nuclear Information Project, Federation of American Scientists, told Warrior Maven. Air Force officials describe this in part by referring to the upgraded B-61-12 as having an all-up round. The flight test accomplished dedicated B6112 developmental test requirements and all-up round system-level integration testing on the B12. All up AUR, hour, AUR, hour. They like these acronyms, so I'm sort of stuck on why would they call this all-up round? Having an all-up round. All up. I guess it's a round with everything up. The B61 Mod 12 is engineered with a special tail subassembly to give the bomb increased accuracy, giving a new level of precision targeting using inertial navigation systems, Christensen said. Right now, the B2 carries only B61-7, which is 10 to 360 kilotons, B61-11, 400 kilotons, which are earth penetrators, and B83-1, high-yield bunker buster. But the B61-12 covers all those missions with less radioactive fallout, plus very low-yield attacks, he added. The evidence that the B6112 can penetrate below the surface has significant implications for the types of targets that can be held at risk with the bomb. By bringing an earth-penetrating component, the B6112 vastly increases the target scope and envelope of attack. It can enable more narrowly targeted or pinpointed strikes at high-value targets underground without causing anywhere near the same level of devastation above ground or a wider area. So let's just ruin our groundwater. What are these people thinking? A nuclear weapon, because we don't see it. Oh, we're not going to see it. It's not going to be that bad. A nuclear weapon that detonates after penetrating the earth more efficiently transmits its explosive energy to the ground, thus is more effective in destroying deeply buried targets for a given nuclear yield. You know what this is talking about. Boom, boom, boom. A detonation underground, in contrast, results in a larger fraction of the explosive energy bouncing off the surface, Christensen explained. Oh my God. This is just beyond comprehension. I will finish reading this. The massive B2 upgrade. The testing and integration of the B6112 is one piece of a massive fleet-wide B2 upgrade designed to sustain the bomber in coming years until large numbers of emerging B-21 Raider are available, meaning they're making them now, folks. A range of technical modifications are also intended to prepare the 1980s-era bomber for very sophisticated, high-end modern threats. Threats. You mean war machines, death machines. The B-12 is getting improved digital weapons integration, new computer processing power reported to be 1,000 times faster than existing systems, and next-generation sensors designed to help the aircraft avoid enemy air defenses. So they're just upgrading them with new computers, using the shell and just tricking them all out. Okay, one of the effort's key modifications is designed to improve what's called the bomber's defensive management system, a technology designed to help the B-2 recognize and elude many air defenses using various antennas, receivers, and display processors. The defense management system is to detect signals or signatures emitting from the ground-based anti-aircraft weapons, Air Force officials have said. Current improvements to the technology are described by Air Force developers as, quote, the most extensive modification effort that the B-2 has attempted, unquote. The modernization system called the B-2 DMS-M unit consists of a replacement of legacy subsystems so that the aircraft can be effective against the newest and most lethal air defenses. The upgrade system integrates a suite of antennae, receivers, displays that provide real-time intelligent information to aircraft, service officials said. Wait a minute. Wait. So you notice how they're telling us that they dropped this nuclear bomb with his B-2 stealth bomber test? This is big information, right? All this big, heavy stuff. And then notice what they do. They transition us into, let's don't think about the nuclear test. Blah, 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 blah. For real. Okay, let's see how they end this. It's 2 more paragraphs. This story was about them dropping a bomb, a nuclear bomb, very close to Las Vegas. Upgrades consist of improved antennae with digital electronic support measures, or ESM, along with software components designed to integrate new technologies with existing B-2 avionics, according to an operational test and evaluation report from the Office of the Secretary of Defense. The idea of the upgrade is, among other things, to inform B-2 crews about the location of enemy air defenses so they can avoid or maneuver around high-risk areas where the aircraft is more likely detected or targeted. The DMSM is used to detect radar emissions from air defenses and provide B-2 air crews with faster mission planning information while in flight. So the dropping of the nuclear weapon, that was just kind of like, part of the test, no big deal because it doesn't drop that much. Look at this. United States Nuclear Forces 2018, same person. See further offer information. Let's see who this guy is. Search for, forget that. Of course, it's the U.S. nuclear arsenal remained roughly unchanged in the last year, with the Defense Department maintaining an estimated some 4,000 warheads to be delivered via ballistic missiles and aircraft. Most of these warheads are not deployed but stored, and many are destined to be retired. Of the approximately 1,800 warheads that are deployed, roughly 1,650 are on ballistic missiles or at bomber bases in the United States, with another 150 tactical bombs deployed at European bases. Okay, I gotta stop. Blah. I can't take it. This is what Rich and I were talking about. The norm. They're making it normal. Like, do you get the deal with this article? The title of it was they test bombed, like, off the back of their heads. Oh, we're just doing scientific study, dumping more nuclear waste into everything. Like, honestly, it's beyond comprehension. It's just, it makes me sick. You know, I have to admit, I kind of dread doing the podcast because having to think about it is just like that we can't stop it, that they are making it normal. And it's like Vegematic said, it is the demosphere. For real. It is a demosphere. Ugh. But you know what? Our children deserve a better life. our grandchildren deserve something better. So we can't just say, screw it, I'm not going to pay attention to it. At least that's how I feel. I mean, my parents basically turned their heads. They didn't look at it, and they still don't. My dad's alive. Although he's 90, so it's not like, what's he going to do? Although he could call his elected officials. He could, in fact, indeed engage, but they won't. My sister, they don't call their elected officials. They post on Facebook, but they don't call their elected officials. I don't know very many people that have actually called their elected officials and said, hey, Hanford is a complete danger to the Columbia Generating Station, and we should close the Columbia Generating Station down, or the entire North American hemisphere could be entirely poisoned, which is true. I call that the proximity factor. I mean, I am just... That article, did you guys see that article? Did you see that article? Here, let me pull it up again. Let's see. Here it is. Oh, my God. I don't know if you guys actually saw this. Let me screen share this with you. This just had me spitting nails. I had to come and share this with you. Where are you? I think it's here. There we go. Look at this. This is what really got to me. Dr. Caldicott posted this on Twitter today. And as I was reading it, August 23rd, 2018. Oh, let me go back and say share with everybody. Because I don't know what that does, but it does say that. So I'm going to do it that way. I come in this browser. Okay. So they tell us that they basically dropped a test bomb. They dropped an upgraded multifunctional B-6112 nuclear bomb with improved accuracy, integrates various attack options, and I mean various. They tell us about the bomb, but look where they did it, at Nellis, near Nellis Air Force Base. That is right outside of Las Vegas, folks. That is not very far. So this was really got me spitting nails. Okay, so they tell us that B12 adds substantial new levels. They can add all these different things. Low yield, high yield, above surface, bunker buster, all this stuff. And then they just move on as if it's no big deal. They talk about the massive upgrade and how it's going to help, and the absolutely no information about the nuclear contamination except some type of implied thing in here that says it drops less radioactivity. But how much less is normal? And this was one of the things that Rich and I were talking about, how they're making it normal that we're radioactively contaminated. These rats don't even talk about anything. They're just like, oh, yeah, we just dropped a bomb. We just, don't worry. What do they call this? It had, the updated weapon will include improved safety, security, and reliability. So no worries. It spans from very low yield, tactical, clean, with low-level fallout to more dirty attacks in underground targets. What they're saying with this weapon is this thing can drop weapons, and the nuclear bombs can be bunker busters, and they can blow up a nuclear bomb underground. What the heck? Can you imagine what that's going to do to our groundwater? You think we got problems with fracking? Wait till they decide to drop a few nuclear bombs underground. These people are complete murderers and insane lunatics. They act as if they can just keep contaminating us with nuclear contamination. It's beyond comprehension. They can't keep killing us like this. They can't keep poisoning us like this. Rich and I were talking about how they were like, this is norm, naturally occurring radioactive material. I mean, I think they just pay people to come up with acronyms. Honestly, honest to God, I think that's what they do. They can pay me. I'm good with acronyms. I came up with the acronym of ROAR, Restore Our American Reputation. It got me investigated by stupid Mike Pence's office. Oh, my gosh. Anyways, you guys, I don't mean to spew on, but I wanted to share these articles. That just blew me away, the way offhandedly we just test bombed a stealth bomb, or we're upgrading these 1980s era bombs and making them super stealth nuclear bombers, and they can bunker buster, and hey, we're making good use of the military money and we're protecting America. And by the way, it's no big deal because it's out in the middle of the desert and it's not that much radioactivity. Besides, we're all radioactive anyways. Where did I hear that? I heard that at the cell phone store because I took my cell phone back. When I say the beating goes on, man, these things are disgusting. I got a new cell phone because this battery is dying. This one is not so bad. It's I don't know, what is it called? It's a Android 8 or something, like 2 or something. This thing, I have no idea, but when I touched, this is an LG phone. They sold me a Samsung. And when I came home with the Samsung phone and I did an Instagram post like that, it burnt my thumb. Honest to God, it burnt my thumb. And I could not even touch it and actually this thing freaks me out. So I've started putting this in the hallway when I go to sleep at night. I don't put it in my bedroom because I don't want this thing near me. I actually, these, I don't know if anybody's sensitive to these cell phones, but this is like part of the beating. Like we have to have cell phones and you can't I got a Samsung and I took it home. And the next day I went back and I'm like, dude, this thing burnt my thumb. And they're like, well, really? We've never heard of that. You know how I picked that phone up? They opened up all their phones and plugged them in and turned them on. And then I closed my eyes and touched them. And I picked the one that didn't hurt me as much. Like these things are just, they're antithetical to life. I have no idea what's in them. But honestly, I am hypersensitive to it, and I can seriously feel it. Way different than this. They are making this 3-4-year-old phone. I think they said I bought this phone 4 years. They were like, I can't believe you're still using it. Yes, I am. And I'm going to actually see if I can go get this one fixed because this one has me freaked out. This one just totally freaks me out. I hate touching it. They want us to know. You know what the kid at the store said to me? I mean, these guys were like 23, 24. They had all their cell phones in their pockets, right in their back pockets or right next to their groins. I said, that's going to make you sterile. And they're like, oh, well, I don't want kids anyways. We're all radioactive, right? I said, well, actually, yeah, but you'd think that we would want to pay attention and not add to it. You know what I mean? It was really shocking. They're just blasé attitude of, yeah, we're all radioactive. Well, I'm going to end here, you guys. I'm going to post this up on my Spreaker thing, and I'm not going to edit it out like I did before. I really appreciate everybody who listens to my podcast and listens to this YouTube channel and lets me just spew out. And then you agree with me or disagree with me. I don't care if you disagree with me, but you can't call me names. That's the thing. I don't mind an honest conversation, but it really, because sometimes I am swayed. I do have to say I'm swayed, and I have gone back and forth many times on issues. Courage feed on you guys. Talk to you guys later. Ciao.
The Age of Fission radio show brings you book readings, pertinent articles, interviews with both activists and victims of nuclear and environmental contamination. We strive to deliver only the facts from reliable sources. We want to remind you that love is greater than fear, and happiness is resistance. Our dedication to love and happiness paves the road for innovation and healing. As we face our harsh reality, let us hold each other up and rejoice in our humanity. If you want to comment, please send your thoughts to ageoffission@gmail.com. That's AGEOFFISSION @gmail.com to your host, Lonnie Clark.